Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Yeah. Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in a bag of a can. You can make it round the world when it holds in your hand. Popcorn world. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Furniture Hall of Famer, Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course, Mama Noise's name, Lloyd Spence. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
Yesterday we were working for Nub because it was Valentine's Day, but today we are post Valentine's Day. We can get back to the thing we love equally, sports.
Hopefully we was working for Nub in all the right places.
What's that now? I'm sorry, sir.
Hopefully we was booking Penub in all the white places.
We was booking Penub in all the right places. I love Wooking Penub. It's one of my favorite songs, by the way. We're here on All-Star Weekend, as you can see, and we're about to get going with a special show today, a special edition of BLEAV in the ACC.
One of us
I got my guys here with me.
So one of us is closer to All-Star Weekend than the other.
Some of us are closer than others. That's true. It's all good, though. It's all good.
Where's All-Star Weekend this year?
Indianapolis. Indianapolis.
So are you going, Kendrick?
I'm not going. I was going to go, but I'm not going to go. It's too much.
You're not going over for any of the festivities? I mean, they have things going around. You don't have to go to the game.
Yeah, I like my rest.
Sometimes that rest be more critical than anything else.
I got enough going on around here.
I understand. I do understand. But it should be an interesting weekend. It's always the weekends on All-Star Weekend where you don't expect anything to happen that turn out to be the great weekend. Like last year, nobody thought Matt McClung would put on a dunking contest for the ages, but yet he did. And now that turned out to be a really great weekend.
And he's back in the dunk contest,
And
even
he's
though he
back.
can't get on an NBA roster. It's crazy.
And he's back. He's back. Isn't it crazy? So, although I did hear some, I'd like to hear, before we get into some other stuff here, I'd like to hear Charlie comment on this, because I heard Draymond Green say it's just weird having a guy who can't make an NBA roster be invited to the NBA All-Star weekend, and other guys who didn't make an All-Star don't get invited.
What are you talking about himself?
Well, just in general. He was talking
about Mac McClung being in the dunk.
Yeah, he was just talking about in general. I mean, he said that just seemed a little off, but he understood it because guys don't want to do the dunking contest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to not have, I guess, not hard, but man, haven't y'all realized that there's things that normally don't happen? You know, they happen these days.
Yeah.
So for McClung to be able to, defend his title without being on an NBA roster, just goes to show where we are in this day and age. Like that's not a normal occurrence, but it is what it is these days. I mean, you can't say that anything is off the table.
Right.
I mean, in this day and age, there's nothing that seems to be unreasonable. Especially if you're in charge of something. I mean, it's their prerogative. The NBA can do whatever they want.
That's very true.
I can understand them bringing back the dunk champion, even though he's not on a NBA roster. I mean, he should be in the G League if nothing else.
He is in the G
League.
Right,
he is in the G League. Yeah.
So I mean, that is a way that they can bridge the G League and the NBA, which is, they're still in the same, group.
Mm-hmm.
When it's all said and done.
I can see both of Draymond's points about, players that are actually in the NBA can't get invited to All-Star Week. I see where he's coming from. But I also see it as like what Charlie said, especially with the dunk contest, which is on life support as it is.
Right.
And then they're making it more of a celebration of basketball, a celebration of the sport of basketball. And so if you're making it a celebration of the whole sport, then yeah, there's no problem with bringing him back. And plus, he was a crowd favorite. He brought it wasn't like he won because everybody was missing. I mean, he put on a show with the dunk contest, and he will again. I've seen Mac McClung videos since he was in high school. I was cracking up when people were like, "Where did this guy come from?" Like, he played at Georgetown. It wasn't like he played. He wasn't played it like it wasn't like he played it like Bellarmine. And so he's
our guy.
No, but I'm just saying, most people outside of Jefferson County haven't heard.
Don't know Bellarmine.
I
agree. I agree.
So I can understand him bringing. I have no problem with bringing him back because, like, I love the dunk contest. I'm one of the few people who's like, I don't get all up in arms every year about the dunk contest. I'm like,
I don't either. It is what it is.
It is what it is, and so if they want to do what they can to keep it going, and bring back people who are passionate about it, because obviously he's passionate about it. Then go ahead.
If I'm being perfectly candid, I'd like to see them not bring any NBA players to the dunking contest. There's some dunkers out there on the internets that are doing some incredible things in the area of dunking. I'd like to see them bring them out and just turn it into a real spectacle. And just let's have some fun, and then let the
celebration of the sport.
Celebration of the sport. It doesn't have to continue to be what it's been. It's clear guys don't want to get hurt, or they don't want to get embarrassed, or they don't want to tarnish their brand. So let's move on from that and do something different.
Which don't get me started on why all of a sudden people are scared to do it.
They are scared to do it. That is for sure.
I know, and that started with a certain someone.
Well,
who is that?
We won't mention his name today, but there's 3 letters in his initials. So. Just saying. All right. Well, listen, I want to have some fun with you guys today, and I want to survey the ACC and the college basketball landscape with a brand new game. I'm channeling my inner Mike Greenberg right now.
Oh, no.
With a brand new game called, well, it's not really brand new. I use it on Saturday nights for Uncorked Wine. But we're going to do it tonight called This or That. So I'm going to take
we
you
get
through
some black sheep in the background, or we got to pay for the rights for that.
No, we're good. We're good. I've already cleared everything, so we're all right. So I just want to have some fun, and we go through and discuss some of these this or that moments, and which one would you be choosing as it relates to the subject matter. So we'll start right here at the top. Who is the best team right now in the ACC? Is it the Duke Blue Devils or is it the North Carolina Tar Heels?
I guess by default, I'll give it to Carolina since they won the game, but neither one of them exactly running away with the conference. So I guess North Carolina by default.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
What's that, Charlie?
I just saying that's probably at this point it has to be North Carolina because they have when they beat Duke in the last meeting, even though both teams are kind of been, I say up and down, but they've lost some games here and there that you wouldn't expect. But it seems like Duke is taking the loss better than North Carolina here lately.
Yeah. I agree with you guys. I don't love either one of them, if I'm being honest with you. And if I had to guess today, I don't think either one of them is going to win the ACC. In fact, that brings us to our next question. Who is actually the sneaky best team in the ACC? Could it be Virginia or could it be Clemson?
Well, after their last performance, I had to say Clemson over Virginia. Virginia got smacked at home the other night.
They got smacked just when you were ready to believe in Virginia. They get smacked around, but they did beat Clemson by 1.
Or is that,
so,
was that Clemson or was that in Virginia?
No, I think it was Clemson. Yeah, Virginia beat Clemson by 1 this past Saturday. No, it was February 3rd. They beat them by 1.
Well, as fast
but Clemson is getting good wins, though.
I was going to say, as fast as things are moving in college basketball now, February 3rd was an eternity ago.
Oh man, it was almost like 2 years ago, almost. So,
right.
What do you think, Charlie?
I'll lean toward Clemson.
Yeah, I'll have to go with Clemson. They seem to have the better overall team as far as inside out. Virginia, I actually watched them against Florida State the other night, and I mean they have a good shooting team, and play great defense, but not sure if they're overall good team. Meaning, have a inside presence but Clemson does. I mean they have an inside outside, and they play good defense. So.
Clemson, low key, if they can catch fire, could make a run. Like they're that good.
I'm a little bit surprised by Clemson because they lost so much off of last year's team, but it doesn't look like they missed a beat and may even be better this year than they were last year. And I think they are.
I feel like they are better. They are better.
They can make a little bit of a run in the NCAA tournament.
They just got to get past the mental lapses in the game within the game. Yeah. If they can stop doing that and just stay locked in for 40 minutes every game, I think they could be really good. All right, let's look at the women's side. Best team in the ACC. Is it NC State or is it Virginia Tech? And we're just going by record primarily.
You going by record or the eye test?
I put them up there by record, but we can definitely talk about the eye test because I have an opinion.
Shocking.
I'm not sure about Virginia Tech. I mean, they play a good brand of basketball, but I just don't know about them. I mean, they have good inside out, and Amore, I think it is, and is it Kinkley? What's her?
Kinkley, yeah.
Kinkley.
Yeah. Those two, then they got some good shooting around them. but I don't know. They seem they're good, but I don't know if they're great. NC State, I think, has what it takes to compete, at a higher level. If you've got just these two, but I think they have, the athleticism, someone that can get you a bucket or get somebody else a bucket.
Yeah.
In the Rivers. And I know they've been kind of up and down lately. I saw them get beat the other night by someone. Forgot who it was. But if I had to go between the two, I would go with NC State.
I think I agree with Charlie. I think Virginia Tech has the best player, probably, or the biggest matchup problem in the league. But as a full team, as well as the full five that are on the floor, I think NC State has more weapons out there. I have a feeling where I know where Mr. Spence is probably going to go with this. It's a team that's not on this graphic, who should have the best record in the ACC if it wasn't for a ridiculous call against Syracuse.
Well, listen, for this particular question,
if we go by these two, I have to go NC State.
Right. For this particular question, I'll go NC State. But as the game has obviously shown us, the next question is, who is the sneaky best team in the ACC? And I do think Louisville is the best team in the ACC. I really do. I think they have more balance and consistent balance than anybody else. And what's interesting about them, defense, we all know defense travels. And to me, they're the most consistent defensive team in the conference. So I think they're setting themselves up for a really interesting February and March. But keep your eyes on Hidalgo.
She is special.
She is something else, man.
It was so nice that we had to watch her play in person when they played against Louisville. Was it last week? When she had 30 points and 7 steals. that means if nothing says getting it done on both ends of the floor, like almost having a double with steals.
She is
amazing. They did a good job on her in the first half of that game.
Yeah,
I think she only had maybe 7 or 8 points at halftime. But that second half, I mean, she just came out and she was, and we only think she made it many threes. She only made 1 or 2 threes at that in that game.
Right.
She's just getting to the rim. She's getting steals, getting out on the break, getting her teammates involved, and I'll tell you a sneaky good player who doesn't get as much attention as she should is Citron for Notre Dame, because she had kind of an off night that night, but I've seen her light it up. She can just light it up from 3. And when you have a guard like Hidalgo who can get to the rim, that's an easy drive and kick out to her. Yeah, I agree with you. Notre Dame is scary good.
They're scary good. And guard play is huge in the tournament, as Charlie Ward has demonstrated.
Yes, it's always in a tournament or even in anything. I mean, you need good guard play.
Can't win without it.
No, definitely can't.
Who are you picking in this one, Charlie?
I really haven't watched Louisville much. I got a chance to see Notre Dame the other day a little bit when they played the Seminoles. But Louisville has been up there. I mean, they were at the top at one point.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of fell off here the last couple games or something. But I mean, Notre Dame has the best player.
No question.
And she'll probably do really, really well as far as carrying a team. But I believe at some point, someone's going to make it a focus and take her out.
Yeah.
Or make it really, really tough on her, even though she is tough, regardless. And I just don't know overall how that would play out if someone decided to just take her out of the mix. Meaning, boxing one or face guard her or chase around the court.
Mm-hmm. Right.
double her when she's dribbling,
Yeah.
into traffic,
Do
take
doubles,
away
yeah.
things that she likes to do, and then force her into, doing something that she, just making it tough. I mean, she's a tough guard. Don't get me wrong.
Look
I
out
appreciate-
for Louisville, for Nyla Harris. She's really been coming on strong
She
lately.
is.
She came on strong toward the end of the season last year as a freshman, and she's just getting better and better every game. And she's got the potential. She is on pace to become one of the best post players that Jeff Walls has ever had at U of L, because he's usually got perimeter dominant players.
Right.
Nyla Harris, she's up. She's making strides, and she's got the kind of game and the kind of ceiling to where she could end up being one of the best post players he's had. Definitely one of the best ones since Maisha Hines Allen. So look out for her.
All right. What on the men's side? Who do you trust the most? And you can go other here, by the way. We got Tony Bennett there and Hubert and John Shayer, but you can go other if there's somebody else on this board that you think is worthy of your vote.
Well, I'm going to go with the one who has a chip. So Tony Bennett is who I trust, even though that style of play, while it's great defensively, it leads you to upsets, because if you have an off shooting night and somebody else can score, then you're in trouble. But I think I'm going to go with the one who has a title. So I'll go with Bennett.
Got you. How do you guys think John Shayer is doing overall?
Shire?
Huh?
John Shire?
Shayer, yeah, Shayer.
For what, second, third year coach, I think he's doing fine. It's a pressure cooker at Duke, of course, but I mean,
I think the worst thing you can do is replace the man.
Well, the good thing he had going for him is the man was falling off himself.
That helped a little bit.
So,
but you're allowed to fall off when you basically built the entire program from the ground up.
Right. Yeah.
I.e. Bobby Bowden.
Right. I think for a second or third year coach, I think he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's doing well. I mean, it's always tough, as I mentioned, to follow a great coach like Coach K. But he was there for pretty much the period to kind of groom him for that job. And then Duke is a smaller community school. It has a big brand, but it's a small school.
Right.
So, if you're, and he's recruiting well is also, so it's not
very
like that's falling off.
Yeah.
I just think, if you're recruiting, young players, and then you're playing against, veteran players, you may have some ups and downs here and there.
Yeah.
But, if he can keep the majority of his team, for at least 2 years, and then bring in some good freshmen on top of them, to keep building, they'll be in the mix. But if they lose, some of their top tier players after 1 year, like we've seen happen before, then that's when they start struggling. In a team, start struggling.
I think some of the problems Duke is having this year is just they are a young team. And so while sometimes we say it's a good thing, you never know who's going to go off for a team, and Duke is like that, at the same time, sometimes you need a player that you can get a bucket from game in and game out.
Right.
Filipowski's kind of supposed to be that guy, but I feel like he kind of fades in and out of games. I don't feel like he's as consistent as he needs to be. I feel like if he can become more consistent, more of that, because let's be honest, he's playing the Christian Laettner role.
He's still kind of young too. Like he's
right.
Not,
he's only a sophomore himself.
He's just a sophomore,
So if we can get him to be more consistent, then I think they can take off. But like I said, it's a young coach with a young team. They're very talented, and I think he's doing a pretty good job there. So while I don't really trust them this season, if they have a good bulk of that core come back next year, I think they're going to be really strong next season.
I think Charlie, you hit it on the head, and you put the period on it, Kendrick. As long as they keep recruiting well and they don't lose fantastically, he'll be fine. Like, I think the Duke fan base right now are still in the mental and emotional transition period for the next maybe 2 or 3 more years. And so as long as you're making the tournament, you're having good recruiting class, the buzz is still, the brand is still strong, I think you're fine. Now, at some point though, and this is one of the most arrogant statements you can make about a program, he's going to have to crack a top 16, top 8, top 4, Final Four run or whatever, which is crazy to think about because I'm saying it like it's the easiest thing to do, and it's not. But that's the expectation, and that'll probably decide whether he gets to stay or not. But I think he's doing fine. I don't think he's doing a bad job at all.
Just from the outside looking in, and I can't really say for sure, but just from the outside looking in, it feels like of the blue bloods out there, it feels like they're going to be the most patient because it's such a small school, such a small fan base. I mean, it's a large fan base nationally, but I feel
it's a very specific recruiting strategy.
Right. And let's be honest, they're the very intelligent fan base, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so they get it. So I feel like they get it. I feel like they're going to be patient with him, and I think he's going to be fine.
One of the most underrated, I like this one, actually, this question a lot better because 2 of these coaches, I think, don't get the national love that I think they so richly deserve. Like Niall Ivey, she's really good at her job. Like, she knows what she's doing. And she's obviously a decent recruiter because she's recruited 2 of the best guards that we've seen in the last 5 years.
Right.
So
wait till next year when she comes back.
Oh my God, they may be ranked in the top 5 next year. I'd have to believe they're gonna be ranked in the top 5 next year. But Kenny Brooks is amazing too. So I mean, both of these, who do you trust more of these 3? I guess the easy answer is Jeff, but I'm curious to know. I like both of those guys. I really, really like both those coaches. I think one of my main reasons for this question was to give them some shine. But
right, yeah, because it's an obvious answer.
right.
I mean, like, even when you said they don't get as much respect nationally, I think you could throw Jeff in that conversation too. Is like not as getting as much as respect nationally as he probably should.
You think?
You don't hear you still don't really when they talk about women's college basketball, you still don't really hear them talk about Louisville as much. They still talking about UConn and LSU because of Mulkey and of course Caitlin Clark at Iowa and all that stuff.
Oh, you're talking about for this year? You're talking about for this year?
Just in general, Louisville really. When you see promos for college basketball, Louisville's like there might be a small clip of Louisville in there, but.
I think the coaches know. I think coaches know.
Yeah, coaches know.
They know who he is and they respect him. But you're right. The national media maybe don't. But women's college basketball is really kind of coming into its own slowly but surely anyway. But Charlie, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm just curious to know if those guys even care.
Well, I can tell you one who doesn't.
If any of the coaches care if they get national attention. I think they're all doing great jobs. I think they're all doing great jobs for their respective teams and keeping them in the national conversation.
Right.
So, I guess you have to be able to trust them all. Notre Dame kind of hadn't been there, they've been in the mix, but they just hadn't been in the top, like Louisville and Virginia Tech.
Right.
So if you had to say one person that you may not be able to trust is probably Coach Ivey, because she just hadn't been there lately, I shouldn't say.
Well, she's only in her second or third year there.
By the way, doesn't get talked about enough, but she replaced a legend in her own right.
Yeah, she
So-
did.
Right.
Yes, she did.
So she's
And
rebuilding a program,
she's
in
taking
her
up the,
image as well. Yeah,
she's taking up the mantle as good as you can.
exactly. All right. Best point guard in the ACC is who? You mentioned this earlier, Charlie. I know everybody by I think it's Hidalgo. I as much as I like what Georgia does, and I appreciate her shooting ability, this young lady here is a I think she's headed to the WNBA and she's going to be a star. I mean, just you know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of Skylar. She's got that same fearlessness that Skylar Diggins had.
I can see that. She doesn't quite shoot the ball as well as Skylar.
She doesn't shoot as well as Skylar, but she's got that same smoothness about her, and don't let the light skin fool you. She's
Stupid.
she's really good. I'm telling you. But who are you picking as the best point guard? By the way, when I say best point guard, I meant like men and women's. Like she's.
Well, yeah, this year. I mean, yeah. I mean, North Carolina's point guard he's pretty good at what he does too.
Well, he's been there forever.
Hey,
RJ Davis has been there like 1,000 years.
Hey, but he's still pretty good at what he does.
He is. He's good. He's good.
I think we'll go RJ Davis as the best point guard in the league.
All right, that's fine.
But Hidalgo's got a serious argument. But so does Virginia Tech guard. I mean, she's been there. She's been there a while too.
She's been there a while too.
So
we're talking about fun to watch.
Yeah.
And be productive. I mean, Hidalgo is by far, the one that's fun to watch.
Speaking of been there a while, I'm expanding the conversation a little bit. The question says been in the ACC for 10 plus years, but really been in college sports for 10 plus years. Award. If we were giving an award, would you give it to Armando or would you give it to Edie? They both been there a long time. It feels like they both been there a long time.
Armando seems like he was there when Worthy was there. So
yes. Are either of these guys legitimate NBA players? It's hard to say Edie is not because he's 7'1", 7 whatever he is, 7'2".
Edie be a good NBA player. He moves well for his size.
He can shoot it too. For his size.
I think he'll be, a good player. He's just not a low post guy, even though that's what he does.
He's not fluid.
He can pick and pop. I do believe. So that translates over to the NBA.
What about Armando? Do you think he can find a home somewhere? He's big.
I mean, he can. I mean, I do believe he's of course, he's a backup in the NBA.
Yeah.
And would be a good role player. Very similar to the Sharp player that was there. I think he played in North Carolina for a year or so, and then he ended up leaving to go to the NBA. And the last thing, I think he was with the Nets. But he could be that type of player. He will have to improve his mid-range shot, those types of things just to, expand his game. But, I mean, that's what most guys have to do at some point. You have something you have to develop once you get there. But I think he has all the bones to be able to be a good NBA player.
I think his best bet is to try to become the best poor man's Tristan Thompson he can become. Get in there and rebound, try to be a decent on-ball defender, and make a layup from time to time.
Yeah. I think of all the Jolly Green Giants that Purdue has had over the years, I think Edie is by far the best one. He can actually move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the other ones were really 7 foot stiffs, but Edie has footwork. He can move. Like I said, he steps out. He hits the three, and so I think he does have somewhat of an NBA career. Baycott, I think Baycott, if he was born like 10 or 15 years earlier,
He'd be perfect. He'd be a perfect transition.
He's got an old school game that's not quite the NBA right now, but I think he can develop, especially develops on the defensive end.
I agree. NIL Player of the Year. Is it Cameron Brink or is it Angel Reese? And I bring this up because both of them have had like okay years, but nothing like what their value says they should be doing.
Some of
which is the challenge of NIL.
with Brink's dealing with injuries, though.
Right, and that's part of it. Like, she's not been available, no availability. So
go ahead, Charlie.
I mean, NIL is they're taking advantage of what it's supposed to be.
No question.
They created a name for themselves and a market, and they took advantage of it. And I mean, a lot of times you look at consistency with marketing and those types of things, but I mean, that's professionally. You got to look at those professionally. Who has the best marketing group to be able to help them and get to that level where they can market themselves. And of course, you have to go out if you're in the sports world or even whatever world you're in. You still have to compete at a high level and earn your next contract or earn your next marketing deal. And in college, we look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of times it may not what we would think equate to, a great marketing deal, but sometimes it's the look as well. There may be a certain look that they're looking for. And they meet that mold because I mean they both look like models.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No question.
And then that goes along with their play. It helps.
I'm a big Angel Reese guy. I like Angel Reese as a human being. However, this is my humble opinion. I don't think her game has gotten better. Like I don't see where she's improved her game at all. Like,
she looks like the same player as last year.
Which is going to be interesting because I think she may be surprised when the draft comes. Like, I know she thinks she's a top 15 player, and maybe she is by default. But to me, skill-wise, I don't think she's a first-round player. I'm just being honest.
She's a first-round player.
She's going to be a first-round player because she's going to be a first-round player. But I don't see what has she done? What is she doing in her game that's going to translate to the WNBA year one, like an Aaliyah Boston, who is normally her comparison point? She hasn't made any of those strides to me. It's just she's not physically strong. So what exactly is she bringing year one?
I think she'll be okay. I see what you're saying. I kind of agree with you. I don't feel like she's improved as much as we thought she would. She is a little slow, but she can put the ball in the basket. And when the lights come on, she shows up. She's proved she shows up.
No question. In college sports, she absolutely does. I'm just translating up.
I think she can. I think there's going to be a lot of questions about her motor when she comes out in the draft.
Very much so.
And so she does need to work on that. The NIL deal to this day that still cracks me up is Haley Van Lith.
Oh, no question.
She's still signed with Adidas. She just wears Nikes during the games because LSU's a Nike school, but she's still signed with Adidas. It's crazy.
Adidas, y'all got to do better. I got to enforce that better.
Nike needs to do better. I mean, if Adidas
or Nike's got to do better, yeah. All right, I know that Caitlin is going to break the record tonight. I know that. She's going to get her 8 points and then some. Everybody's going to be watching. I think the seats are going for 1,000 a pop, whatever. But is she truly the best player in women's college basketball, or is that Juju Watkins? I'm going to just say this, and then I'm going to get out of the way. When I watch Juju Watkins, I feel like I'm seeing something really special. Not saying I'm not with Caitlin because she's a shooter, but that Juju Watkins is something else.
Right here today, what's February 15th, 2024. Yep. I'll say Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time Juju gets to Caitlin Clark's age, it's going to be Juju Watkins.
Well, she may surpass that time frame that you just gave her, timeline.
Mm-hmm.
She may be the best next year if she continues to improve and stay healthy. It's always a key. Caitlin Clark is special. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how she fares this year in the tournament, because there will be special attention on her, and I'm not sure she has the supporting cast to be able to help her get over the hump like they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to have to definitely put on her cape.
Yeah.
Every game, which she's capable of doing, and she has confidence to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if they exited, at Sweet 16.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, you just know Juju and Caitlin gonna end up in the same bracket. If, barring USC getting a number 1 seed, which I don't think they'll get, but you just know they're gonna end up in the same bracket. So,
but
one of the things the NCAA does get right is setting up drama in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely. Speaking of paths to the title, who you believe in more, Connecticut or Houston?
Again, I'm going on a team I've seen do it. So,
you know what? I feel you, but I just feel like Houston at some point is going to crack that code, and maybe this is the year, because they are a dog team. They come at you with they built for a tournament. They're built for a tournament.
Well, that's
maybe more so than for a regular season. Like they're just a bunch of a pack of wild dogs. Really, I don't know. I think Houston's gonna be interesting this year. I really do.
What scares me about Houston is they are so physical, and the NCAA tournament tends to turn up the fouls.
So, as you get closer to the Final Four, that is very true, and that does concern you. Will they be allowed to play the type of physical brand of basketball that they play? Because if they're not, then it won't matter. But if they just let them play,
if they let them play against just about
anybody, you can't match it. You just can't match it. So, Charlie, what do you think? You like Houston? You like Connecticut? Who you like?
Connecticut is on a path. I mean, they have a good team again. I mean,
they do.
So it's going to be hard to not choose them.
Okay.
Even though Houston has been there time and time and time again, haven't been able to crack the code.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, Houston doesn't normally shoot it well, but they rebound well. And if you can't shoot well, some team is liable to take you out of your rebounding game. And then you have to rely on just your defense. And I don't know in this day and age if you can do that.
Yeah.
This UConn picture itself is cracking me up because only one of the 3 people needs to hold on to the facial hair dream. The other 2 need to let it go.
They didn't let it go. It's over before it ever got started. I agree with you 100%. This is an interesting question to me. Most likely to get sent home early. The Hordes are storming the castle of Lexington right now. And I don't know, Bill's doing an okay job, but they tend to have lapses, historical lapses from time to time.
Historically, Kansas is crazy. Is one of the greatest college basketball programs ever. They have gone home early so many times.
They'll give you that go home early. They will give you that.
But however, that's been Kentucky for the last like 4 or 5 years. So, so I would say most likely, but it's at home early, it would be Kentucky.
Is it as simple, Kendrick, as just not playing? Because this is February. By now, you should know who your team is and who your best matchups are. But I hear on a lot of the blogs and the fan sites, they just, why won't they play such and such? Why won't they play this guy?
That's just Kentucky fans being Kentucky fans. But
okay,
in their defense, in Cal's defense, this last game on Tuesday night was the first time all season that they had their full roster. And then Trey Mitchell got hurt in the game, and so we still don't know update on his status. So they have not had their full complement of players all season long.
Right.
And so they are really good. I was bullish on them at the beginning of the season. I still question a lot of the coaching moves that Calipari makes because like this team is horrible on defense, and like he still keeps doing the same thing on defense. I'm like, help the players out a little bit, but listen, just given recent history, who's the most likely to be sent home early is Kentucky, because that's what they've done like the last 4 or 5 years.
You made a face there, Charlie. I saw the face.
What?
You agree, disagree?
I mean, they've been up and down here recently.
Yeah.
But when you're having to depend on young players, you're going to have these ups and downs as your main, part of your main core of players. So you have to live with those heartaches and try to limit those during the tournament. But I can see them easily going home first.
Two women's teams that are interesting to me this year is Texas and Colorado. Colorado starting the season off with a massive upset in Stanford. And then they've played still relatively well. But
they've got some head-scratching losses.
Huh?
They do have head-scratching losses.
But they've had some head-scratching losses, which makes me wonder, which one is the one that's maybe just not, they're close, but not quite ready. Like, they may get to the tournament. You can see them again. They can make a run. They can be out in the second round. Easy.
I mean, the tournament is all about matchups. So, depending upon which bracket they're in and who they're matched up against will determine, who that may be. Which team that may be. But who's the coach at Texas? It's the one from Mississippi State.
Yeah, he's got a national championship. So.
Yeah, he's got the experience.
So if I had to choose somebody, I'm gonna go with Colorado.
Colorado, I agree.
Not quite ready yet.
I think that's probably a unanimous decision. All right. Are we taking South Carolina or the field?
They had lost in they lost one game in 2 years.
But you know what, though? The only thing that makes me wonder about this year, they're winning, but it doesn't feel like the same.
Dominance.
It doesn't feel like that same dominance like it's been in the past. They're winning.
Huh?
Let's be sure.
They just beat somebody. They just beat the team last night, 83-60.
I'm not saying all the games, Charlie. Like the LSU game, for example. That was challenging.
That's a rivalry game on the road. And for them, they need those type of games.
But that's my point, though. They
need those close games where they have to, figure it out. Have to dig deep. And that's what they had to do, and they were able to overcome it.
I
And
think
I
part
don't
of
know.
it. Go
I
ahead,
don't
John.
know who else is going to provide that.
That's a great point, Charlie. That is a great point. Who else is going to provide that? That's a great point.
And I think part of it too, Charlie, is because I kind of fall victim to it too. They don't have the household names like we're used to them having.
They don't.
And so
They
I
don't.
think that's part of it. But they are still as dominant. It just
They are
doesn't
good
feel like
everywhere.
they don't have those names.
But-
And so
But that point guard, what's her name? Flo. What's her name?
Yeah, it's a challenging nickname, a challenging name. You know what? She's not as talented as Juju Watkins, but her IQ is incredible.
I like watching her play.
She makes the right decision 95% of the time. Like she's not gonna beat herself ever. That may be a more dangerous trait than what Juju does.
And that's coaching. And when your coach is Hall of Fame point guard.
Oh, Don may be the best. Don may be the best in the country at going to get the most coachable kids for her program, because they come in her program one way and then they leave ready for the WNBA. That's how good they are. That young lady's going to play in the WNBA, and I'm telling you, she's going to be amazing. She's going to anchor somebody's team for the next 10 years. Like she's really talented. So you guys didn't answer the question though. Y'all taking South Carolina or the field? I think I didn't notice. I noticed.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna take the field. I think there's an upset in there. Even though I think South Carolina is far and away the best team in the country. I'm gonna see an upset in there. I kind of think though what's gonna happen with South Carolina, they may get shocked in the SEC tournament. And then
that straightens everything out. And then they make the run
from there. I can kind of see that coming.
I wouldn't be surprised if Don was wishing the same thing. Like sometimes you need that little jolt to kind of humble you so you can make your run.
So I have a question: who's going to beat them in the SEC tournament?
I mean,
looking
at that landscape, it's only going to be LSU.
I was gonna say, doesn't it have to be either Tennessee or LSU?
I mean, the SEC is not what it used to be in women's college basketball anymore.
Yeah,
so it has to be LSU,
and LSU would have to play a almost perfect game. Like
they've got the pieces to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's how this and that. I want to talk a little All-Star. Huh?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Charlie.
No, I was just saying this year South Carolina has some outside shooting, like consistently. So that plays a big part in how they will continue to move forward.
No, they got listen, South Carolina has all the pieces to do it. Now, the question is, like you said earlier, what does the matchups look like? And because there's some interesting matchups that are out there that because the one weakness I think they have is their inside. The young lady is talented, but she's not as physical as Aaliyah was. And I think she could be dominated. And so will some veteran, senior, junior, big girl, I don't know what you call them, you can't call them big, I guess, but will she come in and take advantage of her, which puts the whole defensive,
Somebody can come in and be physical.
Somebody come in and be physical
like
with
Olivia Cochran.
Like Olivia Cochran. See, that's the kind of thing that can offset the whole, because they anchor everything from the inside out. So if she's not there.
And low key, Olivia Cochran gave it a little bit to South Carolina when they played in the Final Four a couple years ago.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, we got the All-Star game going down this weekend. Just a couple of quick ones before we get you guys out of here. Team Shannon Sharp versus Team Stephen A for the celebrity game. I'm going to go with Stephen A mainly because I don't know half the people on Team Shannon.
To say that outside of Michael Parsons.
I was like, who are these people? And Lily Singh is like a social media She used to be a talk show host. Sir is like a singer. I don't know if he can play or not. That's D Smoke's brother. I don't. The only player he's got is Jewel Lloyd.
Yeah, and I think Micah can probably play, but I mean, CJ Stroud was like a legit high school basketball player. I mean,
yes.
Meta World Peace is, I mean, borderline Hall of Famer, which
right.
I can't see him going out there and playing hard.
I think they're trying to make up for when Stephen A. Smith got smacked by Michael Wilbon a couple years back. So. But I don't know half these folk on these.
I'm gonna go CJ Stroud as your MVP.
Celebrity ain't what it used to be. Let's just start with that.
It's all YouTubers. I mean, I'm sure people younger than us know who they are. I'm sure Hope probably knows who all those people are.
Right. I don't understand the Rising Stars game.
Why
is it supposed to be like a Final Four? Is that what it is? It's like a Final Four?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Charlie, you're still connected to the NBA, I'm assuming. Is that what this is? Is like a Final Four?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I guess we'll all find out Friday.
Like I said, this thing, it changes to try to make, I mean, each year, you know, they're trying to find different ways to keep it fresh and new, and have some new rules, and it's just a whole.
Just looking at the rosters, it looks like Team Detlef is G League All Stars.
They're all G League All Stars, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Oscar Sheway
on there.
Yeah.
So how are they playing quarters or?
I think it's like an all. I think it's like you play to a certain points. And then there's like a Final Four. So you play to a certain point, and then the winners plays each other at the end. I don't know. I guess we'll all find out on Friday.
Yeah.
A long process.
Yeah, that's the way it was last year.
Okay. Skills challenge team Pacers is Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, and Miles Turner versus team top picks Paolo Banchero, Anthony Edwards, and Victor Wembanyama. And Team All-Stars, Scotty Barnes, Tyrese Maxey, Trae Young. I'm going Team All-Stars. This seems like it's not even going to be close. I can't imagine Team All-Stars is not going to win.
Yeah. Just based on Maxey and Trae Young alone.
Right.
And they throw Scotty Barnes in there. Yeah, I think I lean towards the All-Stars.
I'm going Florida State, man.
Of course.
Always Florida State. All right. In the 3-point contest, Malik Beasley, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Larry Markkinen, Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony Towns, who won it. Did he win it last year? Was he the winner last year, or was that the year before?
I know he won it. I can't remember if it was last year.
I can't remember when he did. And then Trae Young. No, Damian Lillard won it last year. And then I think Karl Anthony Towns and Trae Young rounds it out. Who you guys going with on this one?
I'm going Malik Beasley.
The hometown guy gets it. Rides the wave.
Who is that?
Tyrese Halliburton.
No, I'm going Malik Beasley.
Oh, going Malik Beasley. Okay. Is it because he doesn't have any lift on the shot?
No. Because he has 3 letters on his chest.
He's still going with the Seminoles.
I was gonna say I see 5 letters. It says Bucks.
That's what that says.
You're talking about underneath.
He's talking about his undershirt.
His undershirt. I got you.
My bad.
I'm leaning towards. I think I'm leaning towards Donovan because it's kind of a home game for him because there's so many Louisville fans going to be there too.
There'll be a ton of Louisville fans there.
I lean towards. The only thing about Halliburton is like his shot takes so long for him to shoot it. So
right.
I'm a lean towards Donovan, even though I really don't think of Donovan as a 3-point. I mean, yes, he makes a lot of threes, but I just don't think of him as a 3-point shooter per se. But I'm gonna go Donovan.
All right, I think I'm going with the dark horse, Lauri Markkinen.
Yeah.
He catches fire and just tears it up. All right. And then the last but not least, the slam dunk contest. Mac McClung, Jaylen Brown. Now we got 2 G Leaguers in Jacob Toppin. And is it Jamie Jaquez or Yami?
It's Hami.
Yami. Okay, I guess I know it's not Jamie.
Jaquez Jr.
Hami Jaquez Jr.
I'm going with Jacob Toppin.
Oh,
I'm with you, Charlie.
really?
I've seen Jacob throw some dunks down when he was at Kentucky,
Okay.
and it's Obi's younger brother. And then I've seen him throw some dunks down when he was at UK, especially at Big Blue Madness. Yeah. Jacob can put on. Only thing hurting Jacob is he's so tall.
Yeah.
And so it looks better when McClung does it because he's only.
It looks way better. Yeah.
But Jacob can throw some.
I'm pulling for the G Leaguers because they need that check.
That check means everything to them. So I think they're going to give it all they got. I'm saying Mac.
Jaquez has got some dunks too, though. I've seen some old dunk contests with him in them too. He's got some lift too. But I'm going with Top.
I think I'm gonna go with Mac to defend his title. He may have some stuff in his bag that he didn't have a chance to bring out last year. So, all right, Charlie. I know you got to roll, but you got any shout outs before you go, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
He's Seminole.
We'll give you a Seminole shout out no matter what. How about that? We'll talk to you later, Charlie.
Yes. All righty.
All right.
Go no.
So crazy.
Always go Noles. Always go Noles. Before we give our shout outs, I do want to give our prayers and condolences to the city of Kansas City. That was horrific yesterday. I don't understand moments like that. And it's always surprising that, well, it used to be surprising that we live in that world. It is no longer surprising that we live in that world. It's just surprising that the places where these things would occur, the list continues to shrink. It used to be a vast list where this would never happen at this place. Mm-hmm. And now that list every day seems to shrink almost down to nothing. Why in the world would you be shooting at a celebration like this? And then hitting kids, like it's crazy. So our thoughts and prayers are definitely with the city of Kansas City.
And I'm just gonna ask when are our elected leaders gonna do something?
I mean, come on.
When we got y'all in the office to do something, try something. I mean, and quit feeding the BS.
We shouldn't have to beg and plead for our lives.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. So definitely want to send our thoughts and prayers to the city of Kansas, both sides of the bridge to the city of Kansas City. Before we do shout outs, I do have to ask you one question. Because something strange happened last night in the NBA. Did you hear about this?
I was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm last night, so I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. So you watching the debut of that. Okay. But I gotta ask you this. Apparently, before the game started, Isaiah Stewart got into it with
he punched somebody and got arrested.
What is wrong with this kid? This is the same kid that got into it with LeBron, right? We tried to.
Well, with that one, I mean, the man was bleeding.
Yeah, but this, we talk about Draymond being, over the top. This kid is like
a menace to society.
I don't understand. Like, what is going on? This kid got rage.
What could have possibly happened before the game? Unless there had to be some kind of beef before.
But why are you, bro? You play in the NBA. What are you beefing about? You play in the NBA.
Yeah, hey, he likes to fight guy. And so
he likes to fight guy, man. Isaiah Stewart got to calm down, like all the way down.
You got to grow up at some point, bro.
I was just like, what? I was seeing it go through my timeline. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I did just happen to catch that. Yeah. You got to grow up at some point, bro.
Oh, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So, you will find yourself not in the NBA. You keep on.
Oh, it's just, listen, Draymond is going to stay in the league because he's a 4-time champion, 4-time All-Star, and Defensive Player of the Year. You'll be out of the league this afternoon.
Right, yeah, because
you don't knock it off.
You play for the team that has the longest losing streak in the league.
Come on, man. You gotta calm down.
Yeah, chill out, bro.
Home. They're gonna put you on a bus. They're not even gonna fly you back.
But you keep on, you're gonna have to learn how to skate and play hockey.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, dude. I don't think. Sometimes I think guys like him don't understand where they are in the hierarchy or structure of life. Like, bro, you made it to the NBA, but barely.
Mm-hmm.
You're there by grace right now. You're gonna need to calm down.
Yep.
So anyway, any other shout outs, my brother?
Shout out to the ACC and them kind of constantly, and this is kind of a sarcastic shout out,
Yeah,
because it's not just.
I love a good sarcastic.
Shout out to everybody who defends officiating and does not hold them accountable for their god awful calls.
Oh my God!
At what point, especially in women's basketball, when are we going to address how bad officiating is in women's basketball? It's awful.
Oh
And
my God!
that call and then at the end of the Louisville-Syracuse game, for those who don't know, when Louisville's up by 1, there's 2 seconds left. They have 2 fouls to give. They're fouling. They're obviously going to foul.
Obviously fouling.
And
Right.
they call an intentional foul on Olivia Cochran with 2 seconds left in the game. Syracuse makes 2 free throws, wins the game. And for the NCAA for them to have to come out with a clarification, they came out with a clarification of the rules yesterday, just before Jeff Walsh's press conference, and which clearly states that you can foul at the end of the game as long as it's not overly aggressive. Basically, what it said in a nutshell. The fact that in 2024 this has to be explained to your officials is bad. It's bad. It's insane. And shout out to Jeff Walsh for not going completely ballistic. And so, but like so basically the NCAA comes out and says he was right, but that Louisville still gets hit with a $20,000 fine for his comments after the game. And so, which I think is obsessive on GP. That's obsessive. I mean,
it is obsessive.
And then,
and the other question is, what do you want a person
horrible
to do?
referees? And like Jeff said in his press conferences, why is it if a coach makes a horrible decision in a game, he has to answer questions? If a player who technically doesn't get paid has to face the media and press conferences after, if they make a horrible decision, they get held accountable. But these referees never get held accountable for anything they do. When do we start holding officials accountable for when they make horrible calls?
Chris Rock has a phenomenal joke that says pilots can't get it wrong. They can't be wrong sometimes. Our pilots get to their destination most of the time. No, it's not how it works. Just like police officers shouldn't get it wrong they shouldn't get it right most of the time. There's something at stake. And anytime there's something at stake that's of tremendous value, then it is imperative that the people get it right. And guess what? We have way too much technology, way too many people eyeballs on the thing, and way too much hierarchical structure to get these egregious things wrong. It makes no sense whatsoever to just not stop the game and say, our bad. She knee jerked a little bit. That's not a foul. We're good. Or it's not an intentional foul. We're good. That should have been the easiest reversal in the history of
When are the other 2 referees step in? It's like, no, we're not going to call an intentional foul here. I mean, it's not just the referee who made the call. It's the other 2 officials on the floor who let it go. And this is in the same week in which Louisville, again at Syracuse, a horrible goaltend is called at the end of the game, which
same thing.
I mean, they reviewed it and got it wrong.
Right.
And are they held accountable? No.
Yeah, we got to stop.
TV Teddy was officiating that game. Does he get held accountable? Nope.
Yeah.
But actually, he's kind of been held because he's not on the high profile games anymore. I mean, he was officiating that game. But but I've never understood why officials are never held accountable. They just cover it. I guess because they feel like they don't pay them enough to deal with it, but like the players don't get paid.
And that's on every level. Like I don't know if you saw the Jalen Brunson call the other night in the Knicks game, and they said he fouled on a 3-point shot. He didn't even. Not only did he not foul him, he didn't even touch him. He just kind of grazed right by him.
Right.
And it's at some point we gotta do better. It's too much at stake, and it's the difference between a 1 seed and a 3 seed. It's the difference between somebody keeping their job and not keeping their job these days. And so it's too much at stake. There's too much that matters to keep getting this wrong. It shouldn't be this way. So I 1,000% agree with everything you just said, sir. I'm going to go ahead and give a preemptive shout out to Caitlin Clark because I got to believe
tonight's the night.
The game's in Iowa, right? It's in Iowa, right?
Yeah. Tonight is the night.
I listen, there's some other games that are going to be on tonight, but if you got a second, go watch that. I think you're about to see something special.
If you can find it, it's a Big Ten game, so no telling where it is.
I think it's on Peacock.
Again.
I think it's on Peacock.
Because every game on Big Ten is behind a paywall.
Shout out to Peacock who's holding on by a thread because I don't know how they're going to survive all of this that's going on right now. Because
they're going to survive. They get playoff games. They're doing just fine.
Well, I think that was a gift, though. I don't know. Listen, it's going to be interesting to see. But
they get WWE, so they're good.
They're about to lose that, so you know. All right. By the way, shout out to the WWE. Loving the drama. Loving the drama. The Rock is the greatest microphone wrestler of all time. He is brilliant.
Yeah.
That man knows how to sell.
It's not like he's a spring chicken anymore.
Well, I'm curious. I'm a little nervous about him being 50 plus wrestling again, but the man knows how to sell a wrestling match. Let me just tell you.
In that kind of shape, I think you all right.
He looks phenomenal. Golly,
he looks amazing.
Phenomenal. All right, we got to get out of here. You guys be good. We will see you next week. We'll do it all over again. If you're not busy this Saturday, and it's after the Dunkin' Contest, late after the Dunkin' Contest, we will be hosting on Uncorked Wine our second annual virtual step show. So we have our candidates. People are submitting their step shows to us. We're going to show the step show performance, and then we will make a decision and crown a new step show champion this weekend. So It was a lot of fun last year. It'll be a lot of fun this year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I think somebody's already kind of, you're not exactly hiding.
No. Listen,
I feel like
I am biased, but I did not vote for us last year. We didn't win.
Huh.
We didn't win. There was an alpha show last year that was just undeniable. I couldn't even. I was like, listen, we did great, but it normally comes down. Most step shows come down between the alphas and the sigmas. Like it's usually one of them are going to win it. Although Kappas are getting better. They're getting better because they decided to put down the cane and actually step, which is long overdue. Long overdue. It's hard to design an entire cane step. So
because it takes one drop and it's a wrap.
And it's over. The whole thing's over. Right. So I think they had a national meeting because like all of the submissions have been of the Kappa shows have basically been like half and half shows, like a little bit of cane step, but mostly actual step. And I said, okay, y'all had a meeting about this clearly because this is a source of tension I can tell throughout the organization. So there you go. All right, we gotta get out of here. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. It should be a lot of fun. And believe in the ACC. Peace. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard.